Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Ross Bailey here, your friendly product specialist from the UK. We're going to do another Learning with Line 6, and we're revisiting a topic I did a little while ago, but we've had a bunch of requests to do this for Helix and HX products because I did it on PodGo originally. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get the awkward bit out of the way and make sure the sound is good. So this is my voice. As always, it's not great, but it's the only one I've got, and this is what the guitar sounds like. Hopefully the levels match up. I'm going to turn it up a little bit in the room because I can, and then I'll fill for a minute while the delay happens, and someone could tell me that everything is good and hunky-dory. Constantine in the house. Evening, sir. Good afternoon. Richard's in the house from sunny Eastbourne. Is it sunny in Eastbourne? It's okay in Nottinghamshire. So hopefully the sound's okay, and I'm sure someone will chip in if it is not. So signal is I've got my old Pacifica 812V tonight. It's pretty cool. I've got JB in the bridge, SSL1 in the middle, I believe, and then I forget what's in the neck. I think it's 59 Junior, but that will give you some kind of idea what we're playing with. And we're going to use HX Stomp XL for this. Everything is nice, but guitar is slightly loud when you play hard, in which case I will turn that down just a smidgen. Hopefully, there is evening in Ukraine. You're from the Ukraine. Ah, marvellous. Hope yourself. Hope you're well. And hopefully turning that down a little bit. We are all good on the sound. So, like I said, this is, I think, a couple of months ago now. I did what we called the Ultimate Cover Band Preset, and we did it on PodGo. Now, I play in a covers band. I know a bunch of you fine people playing covers bands, weddings, functions, corporates, all that kind of good stuff. And you have to cover a huge variety of sounds. Helix fan from Ukraine. Yeah, marvelous. A ton of different sounds. Now, I am awkward in that I try and get everything from one preset. I don't like switching presets unless it's for something quite specific. And that's not the wrong way to do it. That's not the right way to do it. It's just my personal preference. So I utilize things like snapshots to get the most out of a preset. And generally kind of the sound in my head, it's the same kind of clean sound, and it's a couple of pedals and a couple of different effects. And that will get me 99% of what I need to do and where I need to be. So the goal with this was, how much can I get? The original goal was, how much can I get from PodGo with the kind of limitations, for want of a better term, with PodGo. And I got a bunch of different sounds, so everything from super clean, jazzy, all the way through to kind of super high gain, shreddy stuff, with a bunch of effects thrown in there as well. There were a bunch of requests to do that for Helix and HX products, so that's what I've done. I copied pretty much everything like for like, but obviously with Helix we have the new cab engine. So I've utilized that a little bit, and we'll show you what we have and some of the sounds that we can get. So here we go. So that's what HX Edit looks like, and I'll show you the signal chain. I'll pull up my HX Edit. So the amp and cab, same as the PodGo preset, we're using the Cali Texas Channel 2. My normal go-to amp is the Cali Texas Channel 1, just as a clean platform, clean pedal platform. I know the amp really well. I know how it responds to effects and pedals and stuff going in the front end. Channel 2, you can get so much out of this. It's insane. So we're going to use that. And the 212 Mandarin, I use the Interstate 212 on the PodGo preset. I thought I'd use the Mandarin on here just because it was the default and it sounded really cool. New cab engine is so great. I don't use IRs very often now. I don't use IRs at all, Constantine. You are absolutely right. The new cab engine is splendid. You just do a ton of stuff with it. So there's the cab. You'll see if you're not familiar with this, this is the first kind of foray into the snapshot world. And whoopsie. Right, I'm gonna go back and just load this preset back up because I just changed something. I caught my mouse. There we go. So if you're not familiar with snapshots, anything that you see in white brackets is controlled via snapshots. So super quick. Snapshots are basically a preset within a preset. We've done a bunch of live streams on this, so go and check those out. It's remarkable what you can do. And that's kind of how I get by using one preset. I essentially create a rig and then I can manipulate everything within that rig with snapshots, which are presets within presets. Think Inception, and you're somewhere close. So that's what the settings look like for the clean. You will see all of this change when I go through 4 snapshots because that's what I've got. So I've actually got a block free, so I could throw a wah in there or another effect if I so chose. We've got a phaser up front. We've got the deluxe compressor. I've got that down to 75% mix, just so we've got a little bit of a clean blend. The air apparent, you'll see all of the stuff except the voltage is on snapshots. That's going to give me a ton of different sounds. We've got a chorus. And we've got a delay. There we go. That's been controlled through snapshots as well. And then just a 63 spring reverb. That's just going to give me a bass reverb that's always on. I don't need to turn the reverb on and off. I don't need any special treatment on the reverb because I don't need any special effects for this particular preset. It's just to do it all. Do it all preset. I digress. So what have we got? So snapshot 1, just a general kind of do it all clean sound. So yes, this is channel 2, technically the dirty channel of the Cali, Texas amp model, and you'll see just how much gain you can get out of this. But it does a really sweet clean sound. Really clean. So what I can do within this snapshot, and the concept is, like I said, I've got essentially 4 core sounds. So in fact, before I start messing around with each snapshot, I'll show you those 4 core sounds. So I've got a do it all kind of all-purpose clean sound. Snapshot 2. So what I tried to do with this is kind of, I tried to kind of go with like a British Class A sort of amp, and it's a little bit squishy, a little bit beefier than the kind of clean sound. That's kind of nice and spanky. And then snapshot 2. It does that thing. So kind of on the edge of breakup, does a bunch of different stuff, a little bit warmer, but you know that. All my fingers work. to Snapshot 1. Remember, same amp, same channel, same everything, except the settings. And what I've actually done, if I go to the mic, I've changed the mic. So we've got the 67 condenser on that. And then Snapshot 2, we switch that to the dynamic 906. So it kind of shaves a little bit of low end on there, tightens it up a wee bit. Snapshot 3, just seeing a comment come here, no low or high cuts. Yes, on the high cut, I've got that down at 12, which to be honest is just the default. And leave that there. The only thing that's on snapshots for the cab is the mic. I'm not even changing the position. So again, kind of, and I've talked about this in streams before, just kind of keep it simple. Yes, with Helix, certainly with Helix, even with HX Stump and Stump XL, you could add multiple amps, you could add multiple cabs and do it that way. I'm using one cab, and there's actually a great video that I saw recently of Devin Townsend, and he does this with Helix and other stuff, where he will use one cab. So even if he's using multiple amps, he'll use the same cabinet. Because if, you know, most of us normal people out there that are taking even 2 heads, we're probably going to have room for one cabinet. So that's the idea, and it evens things out front as well. So you will only see the mic change on this, and at the moment you've seen it change to a 57, which this is kind of my all-round kind of British stack snapshot. So again, we're using the same amp, and remember the circuitry for this is predominantly kind of that big round kind of American thick juicy stuff, but it's just a remarkably versatile amp. So that's what the settings look like. We've switched over to the thick, and we've cranked the treble and presence. Bass is off, mids are low, and it does that. So just good old school rock and roll kind of British stack sound. And then for Snapshot 4, we've got a much higher gain, and it's quite kind of bright. The idea of this is to cut through. Lead stuff. So it's a little bit louder. It's got some more juice to it, and a lot more filth, and that is very loud in the room. So I will turn that down just a little bit, so my neighbours don't come around. So there's your 4 sounds. Here we go. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce your name. I am Alireza. Apologies if that's so wrong. So it's a rare question. Can we add 2 foot switch and 1 pedal to HX Stump? No. I'll add that to the screen. No, you've got kind of 2 expression inputs. So you can add a pedal and an expression pedal, like a foot switch and an expression pedal, but you couldn't add a dual foot switch and an expression pedal unless one of those was MIDI. You could do that through MIDI. They are out there, so worth looking. So I'm playing live. The audio engineer, Constantine says, audio engineer is doing low and high cuts and all that stuff. Absolutely. Yes, Constantine. So the idea is that if you have a front of house engineer or you're doing it yourself, you generally kind of get everything to your ear, and then you can do that within the room. If the EQ on the desk is just set flat, and you have a terrible engineer or no engineer at all, and you know what your guitar needs to sound like, you've obviously got global EQ within Helix or HX Stomps. Or you can do it on the desk. It's up to you. So yeah, it's generally kind of getting a sound that you're happy with that's going to sit roughly within a mix. I would recommend doing that at volume in a rehearsal room, or if you do it at home, maybe playing along with tracks, something like that. And that's going to get your levels sort of there or thereabouts, because it does sound like there's quite a big volume jump between some of these snapshots, but anything basically involving gain or compression or anything like that, yeah, you generally need a bit more volume. EQ can help as well. So there we go. There's the 4 sounds. So let's go a little bit deeper into each one. So this is what I've done. So let's say you wanted, and you can obviously edit these on the fly. That's the idea. Per song, you can just go in and add something to any of these snapshots to tweak them. Even mid-song if you like. So the idea is get as much as you can out of one preset and ultimately each snapshot. So it's just a nice all-purpose clean sound, but I can add some compression to it. I'm sure we've all played that, and obviously chorus and delay because fun. All that good stuff, and if you're into the kind of more poppy stuff, what's another one? Anything like that. It's just, again, that all-purpose clean sound with just a little bit of manipulation. You can get just a ton of different nice clean sounds out of that. The Heir Apparent, well, we've got the phaser as well. Etc. What I've done with the gain box in here, the Heir Apparent, I've actually got the gain right down. We've got it on the normal gain mod, and I'm trying to get more of a kind of a fancy jazz sort of thing out of this. So there's my standard clean sound. Now, absolutely use my tone control on the guitar, but I'm lazy. I want to hit a switch with my foot and get that. So that's what I'm doing with that. Not really adding much gain. If any gain, it's more of a kind of an EQ thing, more than anything else. So that's basically Snapshot 1. Tons of different clean sounds, loads of different stuff you can mess around with. Snapshot 2, we'll go into, try and keep up the comments here. What have we got? You're welcome, you're welcome. Playing loud with my band at rehearsals, and I use a high cut 3K. It's crazy cut, but when it's too loud, it's excellent. Absolutely. Yeah, you'll notice those cuts are getting a little bit more drastic with volume because Fletcher Munson, rig dependent, so on and so forth. So yeah, it's just do it to your ear, but like I said, it's always do it at volume in context wherever you can, because things change and your ears change. Best combination, the best combination to get nice and clean, warm jazz tone from Helix. It's kind of up to you. Mess around. I'm not a jazz guy. dude I play with quite often uses the Princess model on his, but there's the 120, any, you know, double verb, any basic kind of clean amp. But you know, the Cali Texas Channel 2 is, or even Channel 1 is pretty nice. I like it. There we go. Jazz. Wrong guitar. As I said, I can't play jazz, so I'll stop. I'll stop that immediately. I would love to give you a definitive answer on which is the best jazz amp, but just kind of go through, and as I've said before, only use the kind of defaults as a starting block. Try them, maybe try a few different mics. Always, I would say for jazz, try a ribbon mic. That's usually a good bet to go with. And if you check some of Tony's presets out, he's a big jazz guy. Worth a look at some of Tony's streams. Where we're right. Snapshot 2. I'm going to have a little drink. Excuse me. So like I say, this is my kind of British sort of Class A thing. So I've actually split the coil on the bridge. So you're going to hear kind of how dynamic that is. Go back to the full humbucker. So kind of dirty-ish, still kind of clean, cleans up great. Does that. What I've done with the delay, you'll have seen some of this is on snapshots. I've changed the note sync, whatever you want to call it, to dotted eighths. Now, if you're familiar with any of this kind of stuff, you'll know what's coming. So with dotted eighths, this is going to cover a few kind of different things. Now, if I had compression, roll the volume back just slightly, clean it up, and add the delay. This is going to do a bunch of different stuff. So the one I use this for most. Do it most, I can't play it. Any of that stuff. You get the idea. But also, what this is really good for now, kind of do that position 2 thing and add the heir apparent and listen, do I have it to hand? Do I have it to hand? Yes, I do. So the heir apparent, I've got the gain pretty much up. We're on the overdrive mode, high gain, and I'm going to use a sixpence. And you get that. So I've done a Brian May kind of sound alike before. One of the biggest points of Brian May is the sixpence. Just with a pick, with a sixpence, I like that. And with the volume up. You get the idea. So we've got a bunch of stuff covered in Snapshot 2. And then we go to snapshot 3. Pretty much just a good rock and roll. You get the idea. If you want to kind of play some lead stuff, or just get heavier sound, the air apparent in there. Etc., etc. That kind of thing. The delay, we're back to quarter notes. That's kind of what that does. Yeah, there's not a huge amount to it, but again, cleans up. Old school kind of British sound. There we go. And finally, snapshot 4. There's a bunch of different sounds we can get out of this. So this is kind of the more, the higher gain stuff. It still cleans up great. Split that bridge single coil. Split the bridge humbucker to single coil. It sounds awesome. So for this, we went with the 421 just because it's just nice kind of scooped. And the kind of stuff I would use this for is that one. Just kind of big, it's bright, but that's going to sit along with keyboards, horns, going to do a load of stuff for that. And if you download the preset, you'll see, but there are the settings. So we haven't even got all of the gain on that. There's so much gain in this. Remember, so I've said this before, same amp, same cab. Same amp, same cab, different mic, different settings, boom. And then for lead stuff, moderate gain on the air apparent. To taste, if you want to turn that into the overdrive pedal, take the presence down, take that down, it's just going to warm it up. So on and so forth. Tweak to your heart's content. You've still got all the chorus and everything on there if you want. This is floating, so it's going to be awful. Loads and loads of gain if you so desire. And that's it. So like I said, from super clean to super high gain, so many sounds within one preset. The only thing I've changed are essentially for the core sounds, so the amp settings and the mic settings on the cabinet. I've not changed the cab, I've not changed the amp, just the settings on the amp and the mic on the cab, and then different drive settings on the Air Apparent as a game box. A couple of different settings on the delay. Generally, if I'm going for that kind of British Class A thing, for the if I'm adding delay to that, I'm doing it for one thing, and that's kind of edge stuff. So that's where I sort of live. So again, very much kind of geared towards function bands, cover bands, you know, whether you're playing in the local pub or you're doing a big corporate thing to tens of thousands of people. What this preset is going to do is get you covered in a lot of different sounds without having to change preset. Like I said, that's something that I personally don't like to do because I'm lazy. I like to kind of know where I'm at. And also, the advantage of that, an advantage of being lazy if there is one, is when you get to the if you've got a ton of different presets, sometimes you might need to re-level those sometimes on the fly, and that's a pain. So that's why I like to use one preset, is I can turn up to the gig, everything is the level I want it to be, maybe tweak a couple of things depending on the room, but that's generally just an EQ. So that's my take on it. It's not right, it's not wrong, but check it out, see how you think. The preset is live. I will put that in the comments right now. Bear with me. There we go. Boom. I'll also put it in the description. I'll pin it on the Facebook page, and I'll put it in the description on the YouTube page, so you can go and download that. I did it on HX Stomp XL. It'll obviously work with HX Stomp, and it'll work with Helix if you so desire. Mark says, when there's a Podgo update? It's a great question. I do not know. There will be one at some point, so keep your eyes peeled. It'll be awesome when it comes. Sorry for the delay. We try and keep on top of this stuff, but sometimes things take a little bit longer. But I'm sure you would rather us take a bit longer and it actually work than it not work. So that's what's happening there. And hopefully you get something out of this preset. Go and check it out. If you play covers, you play a bunch of different stuff. You're doing Whitney Houston 1 minute and Free the next, and then Foo Fighters, and then you're doing some Jay-Z, then this preset should have you covered. Doesn't really matter what guitar you play. I played this kind of thing because it's versatile. And it does a ton of different stuff. If you're playing a single cut, humbuckers, single coils, it doesn't really matter. It will work. It will work regardless of what you want to do. So there we go. It's Helix 2, right? I mean, it's the first part of the show. Yes, Alan. This will work on Helix. There is a Podgo version if you're on Podgo. And then while watching, I did one of these for Podgo. This is just for Helix because a bunch of people wanted it for Helix. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking around, tuning in. Same time, same place next week. One of the guys will be doing something delicious for your ears and your eyes. Again, stay safe. Link for this tone is in the comments. I'll put it in there. Any questions, I'll try and keep my eyes on the thing, Facebook and YouTube, and answer anything that comes in. Again, thanks. Stay safe. See you again soon. Take care. Cheers.